injustice, and discrimination in the United States during the 1950s and 1960s begin with a powerful opening that shows the contradiction at the heart of America. A nation that spoke of freedom and equality while millions of black Americans were denied basic human rights. Show symbolic visuals of the American flag, the Statue of Liberty, and patriotic imagery fading into the harsh reality of segregation. Colored-only signs, separate drinking fountains, segregated buses, schools, waiting rooms, and restaurants in the American South. The atmosphere should feel tense, sad, and emotionally heavy, showing how deeply racism shaped everyday life. Then move into the daily experience of black Americans living under Jim Crow laws. Show black families walking through segregated towns, children attending underfunded schools, adults being denied service in public places, and citizens living under the constant pressure of fear, humiliation, and discrimination. The visuals should capture the emotional pain of being treated as second-class citizens in their own country, transition into one of the movement's most important turning points in 1955. Rosa Parks sitting calmly on Montgomery bus, refusing to give up her seat to a white passenger. Show the tension inside the bus driver confronting her, and her quiet courage as police later arrest her. Then depict the Montgomery Bus Boycott, with black citizens walking long distances to work and school, empty buses passing them by, and communities organizing carpools and support systems. The visual should emphasize sacrifice, unity, and determination. Introduce Martin Luther King Jr. as a young leader emerging from this moment. Show him speaking in a crowded black church, preaching nonviolence, justice, and hope. The atmosphere should feel warm and spiritual, with church interiors, prayer gatherings, and communities preparing themselves emotionally for protest. Present him not just as a public speaker, but as a moral force whose words gave strength to millions. Then show the rise of student activism and direct action. Include sit-in protests at segregated lunch counters, where young black students sit quietly while white crowds insult and harass them. Show food being dumped on protesters, police watching, and students remaining calm and dignified despite the hostility. Follow with the Freedom Riders, black and white activists traveling together on buses through the South to challenge segregation. Show the buses moving through dusty highways, then depict the terrifying mob violence they faced, buses surrounded, windows smashed, smoke and flames rising, activists beaten but refusing to surrender. Build the emotional intensity through Birmingham, Alabama, in 1963, one of the most brutal chapters of the movement. Show peaceful marches of black adults and children carrying signs for freedom and equality. Then show the violent response, police officers unleashing attack dogs and blasting protesters with powerful fire hoses. The visuals should be intense, heartbreaking, and historically respectful, showing children being thrown by water pressure, people falling, and communities enduring violence with incredible bravery. Then show American families watching this footage on black and white televisions at home, shocked by what they see, as the nation begins to confront the reality of segregation. From there, move into the March on Washington in August 1963. Show a massive crowd of over 250,000 people gathered at the Lincoln Memorial and Reflecting Pool in Washington, D.C. Capture the diversity of the crowd. Black and white Americans standing together, families holding signs, people looking hopeful, emotional, and determined. Then show Martin Luther King Jr. delivering the I Have a Dream speech from the podium, with slow cinematic close-ups, sweeping crowd shots, and emotional reactions from listeners. The speech should feel like the spiritual and emotional center of the documentary. Continue with the fight for voting rights in Selma, Alabama. Show black citizens attempting to register to vote while being blocked and intimidated by white officials. Then depict the Selma to Montgomery March and the events of Bloody Sunday in 1965. Show peaceful marchers crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge, then state troopers charging with clubs and tear gas. Capture the panic, the violence, the smoke, and the courage of marchers trying to protect one another. Follow with the aftermath, injured protesters, grieving families, and the national outrage sparked by television coverage. Then move into the legal victories of the movement. Show the signing of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 inside the White House, with civil rights leaders and activists watching in relief and hope. Then show black Americans registering to vote, smiling with pride, filling out forms, and participating in democracy with a sense of dignity and triumph. These scenes should feel hopeful, but not triumphant in a simplistic way. The emotion should carry the understanding that these victories came at an enormous cost. As the documentary nears its end, reflect on the sacrifices of the movement. Show activists being arrested, jailed, beaten, and mourning the loss of loved ones. Include memorial-style imagery of bombed churches, candlelit vigils, grieving families, and newspaper headlines about violence and resistance. Then depict the national grief following the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. in 1968, crowds mourning in silence, candles in the dark, tears, and a sense that the country has lost one of its greatest voices. End the documentary on a powerful but reflective note.